No helicopter had ever gone higher. In 1972, Jean Boulet took an Aerospatiale Lama, like this one, to nearly 41,000 feet, a record that stood for 30 years. And on the same day, Boulet scored another record when, on reducing the power to descend his helicopter, the turbine flamed out, and so he took the Lama on the longest ever auto-rotation safely back to Earth. Well, Taog's Hangar is an independent developer that brought the Lama to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. And the helicopter became something of a cult classic, with some maintaining it's still one of the best on the market. So how does it stand up in the 2024 edition of the sim? Well, it's not available in career mode. Everyone asks that, but you still get some interesting activities built right in. Picking up water, dropping water, spraying crops, and more. So here I'll review how Taog's Lama looks, how it sounds, how it flies, and we'll try some activities. So let's fly. And I'm recording this in February 2025, at which time the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 marketplace still is not live. So how does one go about purchasing a lovingly recreated third-party developed aircraft like this one? Well, some developers sell through a shop on the website. Taog's Hangar, who developed this Lama helicopter, they're selling through flightsim.to. And this aircraft, if you purchase through that medium, is going to cost US $25. Now, it might be that this eventually comes to the marketplace in 2024. I'm not sure that it ever came to the marketplace in 2020, so let's keep an eye out on that marketplace launch in 2024 and see if this is available through that. But as I say, in the meantime, you can purchase it through flightsim.to for US $25. And what do you get for that? Well, you get 30 liveries, which is, I think, quite impressive. I do appreciate a developer that gives you lots of options out of the box. And this one's got liveries from Switzerland, France, Italy, lots of those countries bordering the Alps there. The Lama had superb, and has superb high altitude performance. Some USA, some Canada, there's this New Zealand livery as well, and an Indian one too, I believe. So plenty to choose from there. You also get lots of different attachment options, and I'll show you some of those in this review. And if you do purchase through flightsim.to, then you're going to end up with something like this. I've unzipped what came from flightsim.to, and inside we find things like a manual, and you'll find there's a folder which needs to be copied into your community folder. If you don't know how to do that, you might need to look it up. I might do a video on how to install add-ons from flightsim.to at a later date. But there's some resources online to help you with that, and also locating where your community folder even is if you use Flight Simulator 2024. Well, let's start to have a look at it. And though it appears radically different from the Aerospatiale hit that followed, the what is now the H125, or what was back then the AS350, this AS315 Lama was, I believe, launched in about 1969. So that's really only about 8 years before the Squirrel hit the market. So it's an incredibly close ancestor to the what we now know as the H125, the Squirrel or the A-Star. And some basic elements are kind of similar. We've got that same three-bladed main rotor, big three-bladed tail rotor as well. Of course, the same general layout that most helicopters these days use, these light single turbine helicopters. So let's look up close, and the detailing here, I don't quite see the same gloss that we often get on 2024 aircraft that have been developed in-house by Asobo, those special textures that just have infinite detail as we go in close. But then again, I'm generally fine with what I'm seeing here. I'm going to call that a medium resolution texture. It doesn't bother me too much. At any kind of reasonable distance like this, it's looking just fine. There we have a fixed landing light in place there the whole time. Let's get out a bit closer and look at some of these. Our main skids there look like they're pretty rigid, but if you look up here, you'll see that they are linked to the rest of the aircraft by these struts here, which themselves have some suspension in them. So there's a little bit of protection there, and I do believe that despite their apparent rigidity, these skids do flex somewhat in the center there. That's the sling load system that I've got attached just at the moment. I'll show you some other attachments soon. Huge fuel tank right behind the glasshouse canopy there. Fabulous visibility from inside that cabin, as we'll see soon. We'll talk about the engine and gearbox system soon. Let's look on the tail boom, and on the tail boom, we've got this this line to control the pitch of the tail rotor. It's just not quite aligned with these pulleys. Not quite sure what's happened there, but yeah, that's the line that when you're using your left-right pedals, this is what transmits the commanded pitch onto this tail rotor system here, which is looking quite nice. Reasonably simple texturing on that hub there, but I think I'm okay with that at that distance. And there, just along the top, is the drive shaft, or the power takeoff for the tail rotor. We've got horizontal stabilizers on the Lama, but not vertical, interestingly. The AS350, or Squirrel, H125 now, that's got a big vertical stabilizer as well. All right, so here's the beating heart of the machine, the Turbomeca Aerospatiale 3B1 turbine. I think this generates up to about 650 kilowatts of power, although the main gearbox can only take up to about 440. So this helicopter is limited by the gearbox capacity more than it is by the turbine capacity, which is interesting. A big old air intake there to go into the turbine stages in here. Some fluid storage on the top. We've got a reducing gearbox in here so that the 33,000 RPM inside the turbine is shifted down to something that the gearbox in here can handle. Yes, there's the power transmission from the turbine into the gearbox, and if I just tilt down a bit here, we can just see, I think that's the power takeoff for the tail rotor, sending that power aft down there. Getting quite close in there. with a helicopter with everything exposed externally like this, you've got nowhere to hide as a modeler. Like, you're pretty committed to having to model everything because it's all visible to see. Right, here we have some control links. So these rods and systems here transmit the commands from the controls in the cockpit through to where they need to go here. We have the swash plate where I'm sort of circling here, and this is the very clever device that, with these links here, changes the pitch cyclically or collectively of the main rotor system. So that's all looking just nicely detailed up here. I like that. Terrific work. Nice work, Taog's Hangar. That's the key part of the helicopter. You might as well make that one look good. All right, well, I've flipped open that huge door so that we can get inside the rather utilitarian cabin here. This is not an executive level fit out, but it's just fine, of course, for its intended purpose. This is a working helicopter. I guess that's my bag there, the pilot's bag. Nice details here on the cabin. Lots of sort of hooks and things to attach equipment to. Let's get in here and just have a real close-up look at the panel before I start flying. Nice details here. Oh, I haven't looked behind here before. Oh, you've got even cables and everything modelled there. Good work. Good work. But here's where the real action is, on this part of the panel. And look how close I am here. That's pretty good resolution. Pretty good. It even looks like some of those markings are almost looking like they're hand-painted on there, which I like. That looks great when you get up nice and close to that. Here's a special instrument that I might have to explain a bit later because it's rather complicated. But yeah, no, the resolution here is looking just fine on the center pedestal there with some important readouts that we'll get to shortly. Some basic avionics there. We'll deal with these controls soon. We've got an overhead panel as well, and this controls some important things that we need. Those fuses do pop out. Some of them are required for daily use. I'm not sure that the effects of popping out all of those fuses are modelled, but there they are. Pretty simple up there as well. And back in here again. So that is our cabin in this amazing visibility. Look at it all. I can see up and back and left and right. I think that's just great, the visibility in there. All right, well, I think it's high time we got this thing started up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow the checklist that Taog's Hangar provides with this add-on. What I would like to see is a better adherence into the native checklist system. This is not really implemented. It's only partially implemented in here. Hopefully they can develop that in time. However, you are supplied with this checklist, this visual checklist that shows you where everything is and what you need to do. So I'm just going to run it. Let's go. So first of all, before starting the engine, we are going to check the functionality of the rudder pedals. We're all fine there. The cyclic pitch stick is centered, and I'm not seeing a lot of left and right travel there, but it is functioning as I expect. The doors are closed. Well, let's make that happen by clicking that button there. No sound for the closing of the door. So fuel control lever. Now, let's talk about this down here. I'm going to set up a custom camera view to get me a bit closer to some important controls down here. So here's our collective control. Notice that it does not have a twist grip. Instead, we've got this throttle or fuel control lever, which I've got mapped onto my slider on my joystick. So I'm going to be using that today. Of course, you can just use the mouse. That's also fine. Or if you've got any spare buttons or axis like the slider axis on your joystick, like what I've got, yeah, you can put that on there. That's going to be useful if you want to be doing things like practicing auto rotations, that sort of thing. But yes, there's no twist grip on this collective lever. All right, where was I? Fuel control lever is closed, checked. Now, there's a small switch down here. The servo control system is engaged. The fuel shut-off control lever, which is this one, it's just a click on or off. That is now clicked all the way forwards and on. So that's what we want. Circuit breakers are all engaged. Get this view up here, except for the landing light and the position lights. We only need the position lights at night. So that's open. That's open. Gyro comp, I think we want in. Just double checking my list here. Yes, so gyro comp we want in. Everything else in apart from the landing light and the position lights. That looks good up there. All right, that means we can go battery and generator on. So here's our battery, and we don't need to wait till we start up the turbine. We can just get the generator on straight away. At night, you might want this lighting here. I do love that red backlighting. That looks fabulous. Oh, and it gives me some lighting in here, even in the height of the day. So what do we need to do down here? We need to check that the sorry, just get my preferred view here. That's the one I want. I had to set this up manually. What I found I wanted on the Lama here is this central view on the pedestal. So we flip open this guard and we bring the starter selector. Well, we check that the starter selector is off initially. It is. The rotor brake is released and forward. The rotor brake control is right here in front of you. That goes in and therefore off. We check that with one of the rotor blades, or that a rotor blade is pointing forwards. That means that it's not right over the engine outlet. Otherwise, it'll bake. What's a better view for that? There we go. So no rotor blade over the outlet of the engine. So we need 24 volts on the voltmeter. We have, it looks like about 25 or 26 there. That's good. Warning lights. We check the functionality of all these warning lights. Does it light up? Yes. Red, red, red. These are on, red, and red, green, sorry. Amber, red. Okay, these are all lighting up. Hold down the gauge there. Then that shows me when I'm getting dangerously low on carburant or fuel. So those ones will flash like that. Don't quite know how to get that MG main gearbox chip detector light working. That's just not there at the moment. On my one at least anyway. Interior or exterior lighting not needed today in this beautiful bright day in Gisborne, New Zealand. All right, so now we can get ready to start up, and we are going to enable the booster pump here, and we're going to let that run for 30 seconds. So I'm going to time that by flipping that on there. I can just hear that, and I've failed to do what I said I was going to do, which is to start this. So I need to let the booster pump introduce fuel through its system, pressurize its system for 30 seconds or so. Well, a minimum of 20, actually, if I read the checklist properly. And we will be flipping, the next thing we're going to do is flip this starter switch to on. Okay, I think we've been running that for 20 seconds, so we're going to go on and we're going to watch some meters come to life here. Starting. The rotor system will not move yet because our fuel flow is all the way back. Now, we want to have this up to... Just trying to find it on my checklist here. Yeah, well, we're stabilized there at about, what's that, 1650 now. So what we can do at this point, notice, as I say, the rotor is not moving yet. I can start to introduce the fuel flow lever, which I'm going to do with my slider. And what we do is take care not to over-torque the gearbox by gradually moving it forward. You can see it coming up there, and now the blade just starts moving now. So I do not hurry the fuel flow lever. I just millimeter it up at this point now. So that we slowly accelerate the main rotor. Slowly introducing fuel. And the rotor system comes up to speed. And with our needles there for both rotor speed and turbine speed in the green and synchronized there, I'll bring the fuel flow lever all the way forward. Last thing to do is we just click the starter into off and we say, is the engine still running? Yes, it is, which means we can put it back onto on, close the lever, and we have started up our Lama. Well, I think it's high time we did some flying, so let us do a quick briefing here. Here is Gisborne on the east coast of the North Island of New Zealand. It is a handcrafted airport that was introduced in an earlier world update from Asobo and Microsoft. So we've got a 9-knot breeze coming in from the southeast. 9-knot breeze, so I'm not facing into the breeze right now. I think the tail rotor will be more effective with a bit of breeze coming in across the from the sort of the power pedal side here. Ordinarily I would need some right pedal to counteract the torque of the main rotor, but I don't think very much will be required given the breeze is coming from here. It is 21 degrees. Oh, let me just continue with this. Yes, I think we'll do, what will we do here? We'll do a long right-hand circuit and we'll try a couple of things there as we test out our wonderful Lama. Okay, put that away for a sec. Now, 21 degrees, yes, it's quite hot and bright. I'll show you the first thing to show you here. Oh, let's get that. There it is. The Taog's Hangar clipboard has a few features that we can add. That's where I put that sling load equipment on. I can put mirrors on like that. As usual, they're limited by what the simulator can achieve in a very low resolution, sadly. Hopefully that will improve in the simulator eventually. Big old antennae I could put off the front there. Lovely. But I thought what might be handy here, looking up through this hot glass house here, is to put the roof cover in, which puts those fabric covers in there to keep the sun off our heads. So I'll put that away for now and get ready to lift. So what do we need to do? Let's get the blower on. Hopefully keep us a bit cooler. Pitot heat on, not a factor today I would think, but let's have that on. Landing light, get that in as well. Landing light is on. Good. And review the instrumentations here. Temperatures and pressures, we're all in the green. We've got a pitot heat light on, that's fine. Yes, that's fine. And I have not adjusted the altimeter. I'll just give that the comma key to cheat. We are at sea level today. Fine. Okay, we are looking good. So, starting to lift the collective, and let's see what the machine wants to do. Not a lot of pedal required, I suspect. Raising the collective, raising the collective. Watching the input viewer. Oh, a tiny bit of left pedal required, if anything. Up on the right skid, as expected, so I could have had a bit more right cyclic in there. But we've achieved a hover. Looking out to the horizon to keep the attitude stable, and my hover performance is nice there. Good. Okay, pedal turn to the left. Bit of cabin sound effects there. I think maybe the stick moving around, that's good. Sound effects. And let's go across the grass to that taxiway and get ready to enter the runway. We're all clear. Don't run over that fuel stuff over there. We've got some grass runways here, so I'll keep clear of those. As we continue across the grass to the main taxiway ahead of us. Now, the closest comparison I can make to a default aircraft in MSFS 2024 is to, I think kind of obviously, the H125. So, in terms of how does this feel compared to that? I would say the nose searches around less than the default H125. The nose feels a bit more stable. The pedals feel smoother than the default H125. I'm getting a bit high here. The Lama picks up off the ground a bit more easily than the default H125 and seems to be very easy to control on the pickup compared to the default aircraft. So we're going to try right pedal and left cyclic to turn about the nose there and get on the taxiway. Nice. So it's quite a pleasant experience. Try a couple of small tricks here, getting a bit fast. So I wasn't able to turn all the way around all the way there. I like the dynamic effects in the cockpit there of the things moving around, that's good. Here is one sound effect that's missing, and I will just demonstrate it to you. Come to a halt there. Hover. I'm going to let it drop onto the ground. Right, what did you hear, or what did you not hear? There's no impact with the ground sounds. That's a bit of a pity. I think it really adds to the immersion of Microsoft Flight Simulator aircraft. Even if it's a generic effect, it's fine. I just need to get that sensation of the helicopter making contact with the ground and perhaps skidding along it, grinding along it. I think there's room to make that even better. Well, it's as I'm saying, I'm not hearing any sounds there at all at the moment in terms of movement along the ground or impact with the ground, so I'd like to see an improvement there. Alright, let's see what we can do here. We are clear here. I've turned off traffic anyway. So let's come onto the runway. Left pedal, right cyclic. Not a lot of lateral inertia there, but I don't know if that's realistic or not, but it feels alright. It's easy to control. So I am pitching forward. I am lifting the cyclic. I am gathering speed. 60 knots is where I'm going to climb out. That'll happen very fast, isn't it? So we've got 60 knots there. Lifting a little bit more in the cyclic. Pitching down to maintain the airspeed, which I'm now losing. Let's get onto our crosswind leg. Climbing very fast. I was already over 2,000 feet a minute there. Get that under control. Just keep in contact with the runway there. We have climbed out very quickly indeed. I mean, it climbs like a rocket. The Lama climbs. It is a, a very fast machine going up. Now, I don't need any trim yet because I'm just going to keep this a pretty short circuit. 1,100 feet. 80 knots now. I'm going to lift the nose and reduce the cyclic so that we don't gather any more speed, and reducing the cyclic still, so our VSI, vertical speed there, has just gone through 0. A little bit more downwind and we'll keep this a nice short circuit. Those crop fields down there, we'll see some action soon, I promise you. Okay, let's start to bring this in. Still quite high, no problem. Don't gain height though. Get that there, right, 80 knots. The balance ball works in this, as opposed to many of the default Asobo Microsoft helicopters. Right, I'm very high up, but I'm confident that I'm going to be able to hit the landing zone there. I'm going to keep the landing zone in the same spot on the windscreen. Lifting the nose, reducing the cyclic, and we'll steeply come down, hopefully right onto that landing zone. The visibility in this Lama is amazing. Look at that. It's just a delight in this cockpit. It really is. You'll have no trouble with, well, I won't say you'll have no trouble, but you'll be able to achieve confined landings, confined area landings. And hopefully you'll have less trouble with things like sling loads, because you'll be able to see what you're doing. And this has been quite nice. Easily done. Alright, let's try some fun stuff. I'm going to try an outrageously fast climb, and I'm going to attempt an auto-rotation. So let's just get the climb happening first. We're into the wind now, so a bit of row. We'll try and get ourselves up in our right skid this time. There we go, that's good. Continuing up on the collective, and that's a pretty good pickup. I am drifting backwards slightly. Pretty good pickup, not bad. Let's go. Give it all the collective pitch I dare here. And how fast can we get this climbing? Wow, have I already maxed it out at, yeah, 2,400 feet, 60 knots forwards, incredible. I've got a full load of fuel. I don't have any other cargo on board, so we've still got about 700 kilos of headroom here, so we could go a little bit faster than this if I lighten up the machine. Wow! 1,000 feet. Oh, incredible. Incredible. Alright, let's try our circuit. We're so high up already. Amazing. Amazing. Alright. One a little bit higher. And we'll try an auto-rotation. Now, I've not really practiced the correct procedure for flare in the auto rotation, so I'm going to keep it pretty simple. I'll let it roll on and hopefully maintain sufficient forward speed to not skid or to the left or right, and keep it looking nice when we get down there. Right, where are we? 2,400 feet. We're very fast. Reduce the collective now. Try and get us about 80 knots. to be losing height. Okay. Oh, look at this countryside. How lovely. There's our runway. Good. Alright, I am going to cut the fuel lever. I'm going to reduce the collective. We can hear the rotor speed, the rotor system losing RPM. I need to maintain forward airspeed. I'm losing it. I'm at 50. I need to get that back up to 60. There we go. Better. We've attained. Now it's a bit fast. So I use the nose to control my pitch. Sorry, I use the pitch to control my speed, is what I meant to say. And how are we going here for... Feeling quite high, aren't we? So let me just... I'll try some S-turns here to help with our height. Now, 60 knots, I would have thought that maybe we would be starting to overspeed the rotor by now. I can see it's still in the green zone. So we're still fine there. Let's get back onto the runway track. Having dealt with that slight excess of altitude. Back onto the runway, center line now. Radar altimeter 300, 200, and I've not done a very good job lining up here. 60 knots still. Introducing collective. Flare, nose down, collective up. Okay, yeah, not quite sure why I pulled to the left there. Did I have left pedal in through some sort of instinctive problem I caused there? I'm not sure. But still, I was able to achieve an auto-rotation. Hopefully, all the occupants survived. Hopefully we wouldn't have actually rolled that in real life. Alright, let's try something fun here. And so, whilst also trying to fly the helicopter at the same time, I'm going to get rid of the sling load equipment and I'm going to replace it with a, let's see, a water tank, I think. Fire tank, that's what it's called. Puts the water indicator here for me, and I'm going to pretend I'm going to need to drop some water on that hill or on that timber yard or something. Here we go, here we go. So we need to get ourselves safely down here so we can get some water on board. So what this has done on the exterior, it's put that fire tank there. Now, I can create a key binding. I think it's the taxi light toggle to drop the hose to get the water inside the tank. But I will just use the deploy stow hose down here. Whilst I'm also trying to fly the helicopter, giving the people of Gisborne a bit of a show here. There we go. That's nice. That's good. Might do this in front of the trees so that I've got a nice gauge of my height. And again, I'm into the wind again there. That's good. Actually, no, I'm not. Probably more like into the wind, a bit more around this way. Alright, so deploy the hose. Get down to about 20 feet. Don't touch the water. And get that hose into the water. And we watch the water indicator. The water indicator's now just got a green light lit up in the bottom right. The helicopter is getting heavier. I need to increase collective. The helicopter increases in weight and will sink if you're not careful. So let's get over here. We'll stow that hose. There we go. Oh boy, is it heavier. Is it heavier. I can really feel it in the cyclic. Oof, that was thrilling. Where are we going to put this on the water? On the ground. I think we'll choose this timber yard here. And I am going to put this on on here and ready to drop. Here it comes. There we go. Water drop executed successfully. Apart from my slightly muddled flying. That was exciting. Alright, one more activity we can try in the Lama. Now, Taog's Hangar claims to be the innovator here. They had out this feature, the spray kit, before anyone else did, before it was introduced to the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 even. So, spray kit, I've turned that on. What does it look like on the outside? There we go. We've got the spray bar, of course, across the bottom there. And those big tacks set up either side. They clip on nicely and they really suit the aesthetic on this very utilitarian helicopter. I do like that black and white checkerboard livery in this New Zealand machine. Alright, let's put that tablet away. So what we want to do is fill up those tanks. Now, what Taog's Hangar expecting is that you get your toggle taxi lights switch bound somewhere, so that when you hold it down, as I'm about to do now, the green light lights up and this tank starts filling up. It says water, but this is the agricultural spray that we're about to drop on some lovely crops here in Gisborne. And as I'm holding it down and continue to hold it down, the green light stays lit up and the tank starts filling up. So this works on the ground. When the helicopter is on the ground and you hold down the taxi light toggle, then you will see this effect happening. The machine filling up with the spray. And it looks like we're just about done. So I will see you over a nearby paddock. Now this one looks good. So I line it up here and toggle taxi lights, hold that down. There it goes. The spray is releasing out there. Out there, very nice. And off, and we will do a little left turn here. Or let that get a bit too high. Those trees are just nicely in the way, aren't they? Right, toggle taxi lights. There's the spray, I can see it there, good. 40 knots I think is about right. See if I can do a better job of this turn. We're going to turn right. We're going to turn left. Oh, that was a proper torque turn, and I've just about lost all my airspeed. So there we go. Get it right over here. I didn't claim to actually have skill in this particular area. This is quite fun though. Nicely done. Now, I rather rashly promised to try and explain this instrument here. It's both an instrument indicating our current collective pitch and also a calculator to help us determine how much pitch we are allowed to pull in the present conditions and if we're limited in our maximum takeoff weight in these conditions. So we need to start with two values, our outside temperature down here and our pressure altitude. So our pressure altitude is with the altimeter set to standard, so 1013 or 2992 it says there. 1013 is what it says there. I'm just going to call that minus 200 for simplicity. And the other bit of information we need is up here. The outside temperature looks like it's close enough to 20 for me there. Back down to the instrument. So what I need to do is align plus 20 on the temperature there with minus 200 on that scale there. So up we go here, sliding that outside ring around. I think that's about as close as I'm going to get to minus 200. So next we come around to, I'm just going to double check that minus 2, yeah, okay, we come around to the scale here and look at where that arrow's pointing. I'm just going to call that 0, and so we take that 0 from here and put it up onto our maximum permitted pitch here, collective pitch, 0, so we move the reminder bug there, and when I lift the pitch, this needle then is not supposed to go past that point there. Alright, with me so far? So that's about 0.75. 0.75 on this outer ring then seems to correspond with about 2,300 kilograms, which is already our maximum takeoff weight with an external load. So we're not limited with our maximum takeoff weight today. And that is all I can tell you about this machine here. Very interesting old-fashioned calculator which does the trick. And you can keep an eye on this when you fly. When you lift the collective pitch like I'm pretending to do there now, that needle will come around. You're not supposed to exceed that bug that you just set with the help of this calculator here. Whew! Wow, what a machine. And while I've set myself down on the ground here, a couple more things to show you on the tablet. Oh, we've got a searchlight here, which introduces a new tiny panel here. Turn that searchlight on, and you can bind all of this, but you can steer the searchlight. How cool is that? That's fun. You do a police chase or something. Click that off. Camera. So that installs the CineFlex camera over here on the port side with a counterbalance, I guess, over on that side. That's that one. What else do we have here? Sling loads. I'd have to show you in the air, but you've got a choice of a crate that you can haul around, a Bambi bucket, so that also fills up with water when you dunk it into the water, and releases again with that toggle taxi light control, and you can haul around a tree too with a sling load. So plenty of fun to do there. I can set this thing up with side boxes and a winch maybe. That could be something you might see in mountainous terrain. Bit of a setup like that, the winch sitting underneath the rotor blades there, and some boxes there for carrying an external load, maybe up to a hut up in the Alps or something. So, how to sum up the Taog's Hangar Lama for someone thinking of expanding their helicopter collection in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. You don't get any career mode functionality. You don't get that new tissue simulation around slung loads. But you get a machine with nice modelling, pretty good texturing. Sounds, in my opinion, could do with some improvement. The flight model is forgiving, it's stable, it's fun. And then you've got activities. You can pick your own adventure. You can operate in the mountains like this with all of those tools I've already showed you in this video. For US $25 from flightsim.to, that seems to offer decent value. Looking to the future and whether this aircraft might appear in the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 marketplace, we do not know. Also, I don't know that Taog's Hangar, or any developer really, has committed to upgrading their 2020 era machines to work with all the 2024 functionality in terms of career and stuff without an upgrade price. That remains to be seen. Still, it's a fun, enjoyable machine that with all of its activities and options will motivate you to try new things in the simulator. And it's from an interesting point in the history of aviation development. So I know I'll continue to enjoy to fly it. I hope this review has been really helpful to you, and I do hope I'll see you in another video real soon.